First Contact and Revelation. The Araxian exploration vessel Celestial Seeker slipped into Earth's orbit with barely a ripple in the electromagnetic spectrum. Commander Xalon stood before the main viewing screen, his scaled skin reflecting the blue-green glow of the planet below. Four slitted eyes narrowed as he studied what should have been just another catalogued world in the vast Araxian database. Initial assessment, Science Officer Tela. He commanded, voice resonating with the harmonic undertones of his species. Tela, her scales a lighter shade of azure than the commander's, manipulated the holographic controls with six-fingered hands. Nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere, abundant liquid water, moderate gravity. Technologically developing civilization with approximately 8 billion individuals of a single dominant species. Classification. Xalon inquired. Bipedal mammals, Tela replied. They call themselves humans. Primitive compared to our standards. They've achieved basic spaceflight but remain confined to their planetary system. No faster-than-light capabilities, no quantum communications, still dependent on combustion and nuclear fission for energy. Xalon clicked his jaw plates together in mild interest. The Araxian stellar expansion had catalogued thousands of sentient species across the galaxy, and this one seemed unremarkable. Just another entry in the grand catalogue of galactic life. What's their societal structure? He asked. Navigation Officer Vrek turned from his station. Divided into nation-states with varying forms of governance. Chaotic, inefficient, constantly competing with each other. Their resources are unevenly distributed, and they waste enormous energy on entertainment and leisure activities. Yet they've managed to create a global communication network, Tela added, her voice carrying a hint of fascination. Their technological advancement curve over the past century is remarkably steep for a pre-FTL species. Xalon considered this information carefully. Araxian protocols were clear. Primitive but promising species were to be observed, studied, and eventually guided toward proper integration into the galactic community. For their own benefit, of course. Deploy observation drones, he ordered. Standard observation procedures. Let's see what these humans are truly capable of. For 7 planetary rotations, the Celestial Seeker remained in stealth orbit. The observation drones gathered data on human languages, social structures, and technological capabilities. With each passing day, the Araxian crew found themselves increasingly perplexed by the contradictions they observed. I don't understand, Vrek said during the daily briefing. They possess nuclear weapons capable of planetary devastation, yet they've restrained themselves from using them for decades. Their entertainment glorifies violence, Security Chief Mailer noted, her darker scales bristling slightly. Their children play simulations of warfare, yet they also create beautiful art, music, and literature celebrating peace and cooperation. Tela's analysis was the most troubling. Their entire history is punctuated by warfare, unlike every other advanced species we've encountered. Achieving technology hasn't diminished their capacity for violence. If anything, it's enhanced it. Commander Xalon studied the holographic displays showing human military installations, weapons systems, and troop movements. A species that continued to wage war after achieving spaceflight was unprecedented. The Araxians, like all advanced civilizations, had outgrown violence once they reached for the stars. I recommend we establish first contact, Tela suggested. Their communications indicate they've theorized about extraterrestrial life. Many seem eager for such an encounter, and many others seem terrified by the prospect, Millar countered. Their fictional narratives frequently portray alien contact as a threat. Xalon considered both perspectives before making his decision. We'll send down a scientific expedition to a less populated area. Full stealth protocols. I want direct observation before we reveal ourselves. The expedition team, led by Tela herself, descended to Earth's surface in a remote region humans called Montana. Their adaptive camouflage rendered them nearly invisible as they collected biological samples and recorded human activities in a nearby settlement. For 3 days, the expedition operated undetected. On the fourth day, everything changed. "Commander, we've lost contact with the expedition team," Vrek reported, antenna twitching with agitation. Last transmission showed they were observing a human dwelling on the outskirts of the settlement. "Impossible," Xalan hissed. "Our stealth technology is undetectable to pre-FTL civilizations." "Incoming transmission from Science Officer Tella," the communications specialist announced. Tella's image appeared on the main screen, her scales dulled with stress. "Commander, we've been compromised. The humans detected us somehow. Expedition member Kraz is dead." The command deck fell silent. An Araxian killed by primitives. Unthinkable. "How?" Xalan demanded. "They didn't use energy weapons or advanced technology," Tila explained, her voice trembling. "It was primitive. A projectile weapon, metal propelled by chemical explosion. But the precision, Commander, the human tracked us despite our camouflage, anticipated our movements. They're hunting us. Return to the ship immediately," Xalan ordered. "Full emergency evacuation." "There's more," Tella continued. "They've captured our sample collection module. All our technology, our biological scanners, our communication devices. They have it all." The implications were staggering. Araxian technology in the hands of a species with a history of warfare. The High Council would need to be informed immediately. Hours later, the remaining expedition members returned to the Celestial Seeker, shaken and diminished. Science Officer Tella delivered her full report to the command staff. "The humans shouldn't have been able to detect us," she explained, displaying sensor readings on the holographic projector. "But their senses are unexpectedly acute, and their reaction time. I've never seen anything like it." "What about Kraz?" Millar asked. "How exactly did he die?" Tella's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of distress. The human approached from downwind. Somehow it knew this would minimize Kraz's ability to detect its scent. The projectile struck a vulnerable point in Kraz's exoskeleton with impossible precision, as if the human knew our biology. "One lucky shot," Vrek suggested. "No," Tella countered. "When we pursued, the human led us into prepared positions. It knew the terrain, used environmental features for concealment. It didn't engage us directly. It couldn't match our technology. But it used the environment against us. Improvised traps, diversionary tactics." Commander Xalan paced the deck, jaw plates clicking rapidly in agitation. "You're suggesting these creatures have evolved as warriors?" "Not just warriors, Commander," Tella said quietly. "Look at their biology." The holographic display shifted to show human anatomy. Bipedal stance freeing hands for tool use, forward-facing eyes providing depth perception for hunting, endurance capabilities exceeding any known species. "Many species evolve as predators," Xalan noted. "Yes," Tella agreed, "but how many continue to wage war after achieving technological maturity? Their cognitive abilities are specifically geared toward pattern recognition, strategic thinking, and cooperative group tactics. They can analyze and adapt to new threats with remarkable speed." Mailer leaned forward, studying the display. "You think they can reverse engineer our technology?" "Given time, yes," Tella confirmed. "They're already experimenting with the sample collection module. They've bypassed the first layer of security protocols." Commander Xalan made his decision. "Send a priority communication to the High Council. We need a containment fleet. These humans represent a potential threat to galactic security." "Commander," Vrek interrupted, "sensors detect multiple human aircraft approaching our position. They're on an intercept course." "Impossible," Talon breathed. "They can't have detected us in orbit." "They've locked targeting systems on us," Muller reported, her voice rising with disbelief. They're using modified versions of our own sensor technology. They've already adapted the technology from the sample collection module." "Evasive maneuvers," Xalan ordered. "Break orbit and retreat to safe distance." As the Celestial Seeker pulled away from Earth, The command crew watched in stunned silence as human missiles tracked their movement with uncanny precision. The ship's defensive systems neutralized the primitive weapons easily enough, but the implications were chilling. "The High Council must be informed immediately," Zalon declared. "This species doesn't just use technology, they weaponize it. And they learn at a rate I've never witnessed before." "There's something else, Commander," Tella said, her voice barely above a whisper. "During our analysis of human genetics, I noticed anomalies, sequences that don't match their evolutionary path." "What are you suggesting?" Talon asked. "I'm not certain," Tella admitted, "but there's evidence that humans may have been engineered. Their aggressive tendencies, their adaptability, their capacity for violence coupled with high intelligence, these traits don't naturally evolve together." The command deck fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans had been engineered for combat, the question remained, by whom and for what purpose? As the celestial seeker accelerated away from Earth, Zalon gazed at the blue planet receding on the view screen. What the Araxians had awakened there might change the galaxy forever. Little did they know, beneath Earth's oceans, ancient systems had begun to stir, activated by the detection of extraterrestrial technology. Systems that had lain dormant for millennia, waiting for the day when their warriors would be needed once more. Humanity's true purpose was about to be revealed. Awakening the ancient fleet, High Admiral Drezak of the Araxian Grand Fleet stood before the assembled High Council. His scales darkened with concern as he delivered the report from the celestial seeker. "Esteemed counselors," he began, "what started as a routine exploration mission has revealed a potential threat to galactic security. A pre-FTL species on a planet called Earth has not only detected our stealth technology, but has killed an Araxian scientist and captured advanced equipment." Murmurs rippled through the council chamber. High Counselor Verix, her scales gray with age, leaned forward. "How is this possible? Our stealth systems are undetectable to pre-space civilizations." "That's what troubles us, Counselor," Drezek replied. "These humans possess natural abilities that defy explanation. Their sensory perception, reaction time, and adaptability exceed any species we've encountered. And their history." He paused, mandibles clicking in distress. "Their entire civilization has evolved around warfare. Holograms displayed scenes from human history, armies clashing across millennia, weapons evolving from stone to steel to nuclear fire, all punctuated by remarkable achievements in art, science, and culture. Even more concerning," Drezek continued, "Science Officer Tella discovered genetic anomalies suggesting these humans may have been engineered. Their genetic code contains sequences that appear artificial, designed to enhance aggression, adaptability, and combat effectiveness." "Engineered by whom?" Counselor Verix demanded. "Unknown, Counselor, but we must act quickly. These humans have already begun reverse engineering our technology. The Celestial Seeker was targeted by human missiles using modified versions of our own sensor systems, just days after they acquired the technology." The council chamber erupted in alarmed discussions. Such rapid technological adaptation was unprecedented. Elder Counselor Thax raised a gnarled hand for silence. "What do you propose, Admiral?" "A containment operation," Drezek answered firmly. "A battle group to retrieve our technology and implement a quarantine protocol. These humans must be isolated until we understand the threat they pose. The loss of Araxian life cannot go unanswered." Counselor Verix agreed. "And if they possess engineered capabilities for warfare, allowing them to spread beyond their planet would be catastrophic." The vote was unanimous. Within days, a battle group of 7 Araxian warships, led by the dreadnought Sovereign Judgment, departed for Earth. Their mission: retrieve all Araxian technology, neutralize any human military response, and establish orbital containment platforms to prevent humanity from leaving their planet. Admiral Drezek, commanding from the Sovereign Judgment, studied the tactical displays as they approached the Sol system. "Status report," he ordered. all systems functioning at optimal capacity. Admiral, his first officer responded. We'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 6 hours. Have they detected us? No, Admiral. We're operating under full stealth protocols. Their primitive systems can it. The officer stopped abruptly, scales rippling in surprise. Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from Earth's oceans. Specify, Drezak commanded. Unknown technology activating in multiple locations, primarily in deep ocean trenches. Power readings are impossible. Before Drezak could respond, Tela, now serving as science officer aboard the flagship, rushed onto the command deck. Admiral, you need to see this. The main view screen shifted to show thermal imagery of Earth's oceans. Massive structures were rising from the deepest parts of the sea, structures that had lain hidden for millennia. What are we looking at, science officer? Drezak demanded. Ancient technology. Admiral, Tela replied, her voice trembling with awe. Carbon dating from our preliminary scan suggests these structures are at least 50,000 years old, far older than human civilization. As they watched, enormous vessels broke the ocean's surface, sleek, obsidian craft of a design unlike anything in the Araxian database. They rose into the atmosphere with impossible grace for their size. Are these human vessels? Drezak asked in disbelief. No, Admiral, Tela answered, but they appear to be responding to human commands. Look, the view screen showed human military vessels converging on the emergence points, not in attack formation, but in escort patterns. Human aircraft circled the ancient ships in protective formations. It's as if they were expecting this, the first officer whispered. Not consciously, Tela corrected, but something in their genetic memory. Admiral, I believe we're witnessing the activation of a dormant defense system, one that's somehow linked to human genetics. As the Araxian battle group dropped stealth protocols and approached Earth orbit, they detected hundreds of transmissions between human military forces worldwide. Instead of panic, there was coordination. Instead of chaos, there was purpose. Admiral Drezak felt the first stirrings of unease. Open a communication channel to the humans. Standard first contact protocol. The view screen flickered, and a human face appeared, female, dark-skinned, wearing what appeared to be a military uniform. This is Admiral Helena Chen of Earth United Defense. You are in restricted space. Identify yourselves. Drezak straightened, projecting confidence. I am Admiral Drezak of the Araxian Grand Fleet. Your species has killed an Araxian citizen and stolen our technology. We demand its immediate return and your surrender. The human showed no fear, only cold determination. You fired the first shot. Admiral, your people came to our world in secret, using technology to hide yourselves. Where I come from, we call that an invasion. Your primitive species cannot hope to stand against the might of the Araxian Empire. Drezak warned. Surrender our technology, and we may show mercy. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. We both know that's not why you're here. Your science officer discovered something about us, didn't she? Something that frightened you. Drezak's scales rippled involuntarily. How could they know? We've awakened the Guardians, Chen continued. They've been waiting a long time for this day. The view screen split to show another figure, not human, but humanoid. Tall, with silvery skin and eyes that glowed with inner light. I am Sentinel Zarthus of the Preservers, the being announced, its voice resonating with ancient power. 50,000 years ago, my civilization faced extinction at the hands of the Harvesters. We created humanity as our legacy and our vengeance. Stunned silence fell across the Araxian command deck. You created humans, Tela whispered. We took primitive primates and accelerated their evolution, Zarthus explained. We encoded within them the perfect balance of aggression and compassion, innovation and preservation. We built them to be warriors when needed, creators when possible. And we left our technology in their safekeeping, programmed to awaken when they faced a threat they could not overcome alone. Admiral Drezak's tactical mind raced to process this information. The harvesters. We found ruins of civilizations destroyed by them. We thought they were extinct. They sleep, as we did, Zarthus replied. They will return, and when they do, humanity will be ready. They are our answer to the greatest predators the galaxy has ever known. You engineered an entire species for war, Drezak said in horror. We engineered them for survival, Zarthus corrected. Their warlike nature is balanced by their capacity for love, their aggression tempered by their empathy. They are what we could not be, adaptable enough to face the harvesters and survive. Admiral Chen spoke again. We're not interested in your empire, Admiral Drezak. We don't want conquest, but we will defend our world. As if to emphasize her point, the ancient vessels, the Guardian fleet, moved into formation around Earth. Sensors indicated weapons powering up, technology far beyond even Araxian capabilities. Your choice is simple, Chen continued. Leave in peace or face what we were born to do. Drezak studied the tactical displays. The Guardian ships outnumbered his battle group 3-1, their energy signatures suggesting weapons that could tear through Araxian shields like paper. Even if they could win this battle, the cost would be catastrophic. But beyond tactical considerations was a more profound realization. If Zarthus spoke the truth, humanity wasn't merely a threat. They were a shield, created to protect the galaxy from something far worse than their warlike tendencies. Stand down weapons, Drezak ordered his fleet. To the view screen, he said, we will withdraw to the edge of your solar system. I must consult with the High Council. A wise decision, Admiral, Zarthus nodded. The Araxians have always been known for their reason as much as their ambition. As the Araxian ships retreated to a safe distance, Tella approached Drezak privately. Admiral, if the Preserver's story is true, everything changes. The harvesters are not myth. They're history waiting to repeat itself. And humanity is the firewall, Drezak mused. Engineered not for conquest, but for defense. He gazed at the view screen, where Earth hummed against the blackness of space, surrounded by its ancient guardians. Contact the High Council. Tell them we need a diplomatic delegation, not a war fleet. 3 months later, the Araxian diplomatic vessel Peaceful Accord entered Earth orbit. This time, there was no stealth, no deception. They came openly to forge an alliance with humanity and the awakened preservers. High Counselor Varix herself led the delegation to Earth's United Nations headquarters in New York. Standing before representatives of all human nations, with Sentinel Zarthus at her side, she addressed humanity directly. For thousands of years, the civilizations of the galaxy have lived in relative peace, believing the greatest threats were behind us. We were wrong. The preservers have confirmed what our archaeological studies long suggested. The harvesters will return, and when they do, they will consume everything in their path. The hall was silent as Zarthus stepped forward. My people created yours for this moment, the preserver said. Not merely as weapons, but as heirs. We gave you our fierce will to survive, our capacity for innovation, our refusal to surrender. But you have developed qualities we could not engineer, your art, your music, your capacity for forgiveness. You are more than we intended, and that gives us hope. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's military liaison to the galactic community, stood to address the assembly. For all of human history, we've turned our capacity for violence against ourselves. We've wondered why we couldn't escape our warlike nature despite all our achievements. Now we know. We were made this way, but knowing our purpose doesn't dictate our future. She looked around the great hall, meeting the eyes of human and alien alike. We were made for war, yes, but we choose what we fight for. Today, we choose to fight not just for humanity's survival, but for all sentient life in the galaxy. As the first human ships joined the Araxian patrols at the edge of known space, Admiral Drezak found himself reflecting on the strange turn of events. The species they had feared might become the greatest threat to galactic peace had instead become its most dedicated defenders. Humanity had indeed been engineered for war. But what the preservers could never have engineered was humanity's choice to use that capacity not for conquest, but for protection. The galaxy would never be the same again. And when the harvesters eventually returned, they would find not scattered, unprepared civilizations, but a united galaxy with humanity, born of war, but choosing peace, standing at the forefront. The Araxians had made a deadly mistake in judging humanity by its capacity for violence. But that mistake had awakened not just Earth's ancient fleet, but a new era of galactic cooperation. As Drizak watched a human child and an Araxian hatchling playing together in the diplomatic quarter, he realized that perhaps the Preservers' greatest achievement wasn't creating the perfect warriors. It was creating beings who could choose to be more than their design. The galaxy's greatest weapon had turned out to be its greatest hope.